These are the basic steps of how to graph using the y-intercept and the slope. You've probably already had a full lesson, and this is just a good little review for the basics. Okay, not everything, just the basics. First off, when you look at an equation and you need to graph it, if you can find the y-intercept, you're in business. So it's always the number right after the x. Don't forget to look for the sign in front of it. In this case, it's positive 3. Use that information to graph it on the y-axis. Okay? If that was a minus 3, I'd be putting it down here at minus 3. The reason I'm not putting it on the x-axis is this is called a y-intercept on the y-axis. That means it's this vertical line running up and down. So be careful not to fall for that trick. Now, use the slope information. That's the number in front of the x. If it's not a fraction, please make it 1. Now, use the slope information to move from this y-intercept point to a new place to make a new point, okay? Now, the top number, if it's positive, you go up that many spots. So it goes 1, 2, 3. But I don't put a dot right there because I've got to look at the bottom number of the slope of the fraction there, okay? So that's a positive 1 on the bottom. That means if it's positive, you go to the right. So we'll go 1 to the right, and we'll make our dot right there. Now again, real quick on the slope business. If the top number is positive, we go up that many spaces. If the bottom number is positive, we go to the right that many spaces. If it was negative on the top, we would go down. If it was negative on the bottom, we would go to the left. So just make sure you pay attention to the signs for the top and bottom number of the fractions. Now, after you've got your 2 dots, just put a line through it and you're done. Let's go do number 2. This one brings up an interesting point about the slope when you don't really see a number there, so we'll handle it in due time. Find the y-intercept. It's negative 2. Graph it. Again, we're at negative 2 on the y-axis, not the x-axis. It's on our y-axis. Go get your slope. And if you don't see a number in front of the x, put a 1 there. So in this case, our slope is negative 1. And again, once you get your slope, if it's not a fraction, please make it 1. Now, use the slope information to move from this y-intercept point. So we go down 1 and to the right 1. Put a new dot. There's our 2 dots or 2 points for the line. Graph it, and we're done. Here's number 3. This one shows us what to do if there's no y-intercept or if our slope's already a fraction, because sometimes people freak out about that. Here we go. Find y-intercept, which is basically nothing, so we put plus 0 behind the x, and that means our y-intercept is 0. So go graph it. Go steal our slope information from the equation. It's 2/5. It's already a fraction, so we're just going to use it as it is and move from this y-intercept point to the new place using this information. Positive 2 on top, so we go up 2. Positive 5 on bottom, so we go to the right 5. Put a dot there and graph it. We're done.